So basically, welcome back to the Ball of Fire channel. We're going to be talking about Plymouth City Patriots and what's been happening around the league. I heard that there's players that's been moved around. That's really good, seeing players moved around the league. I'm going to talk about that in my next videos, talk about what transfers has happened and what's been going on in the league so far, and basically the new venues that are coming up. We know Sheffield Sharks venues just starting to, well, it's actually finished, should be finished being built. We know Bristol Flyers next year, by the end of this year and next year, they should start building. So by 2025, they should finish being built. So a lot of clubs around the BBL have started building their arenas, and that brings me to an important club which I haven't talked about, and that should be highlighted, and that needs a new venue, and that is the Plymouth City Patriots. Now, I was scouring the website and I found this article from the Plymouth Herald talking about the Patriots, and it says here the Plymouth City Patriots owner Carl Hessop says the club have two potential venues to move into for the 22 and the 23 BBL season, although nothing has been finalised. So this is last season, so I have no idea what they're going to do for this season. You know, the club was formed in 2021, and the reason why they were formed is because if you heard of the Plymouth Raiders, that was the organisation that preceded them. They literally went to liquidation. You know, so until they came back, because the rental cost was too much at the pavilions. So when the Patriots took over, there was a discussion if they were going to move to a new venue. And that's what was supposed to happen for the 22 and 23 season. But Hessop, he has earmarked two buildings, which he said could be converted for, in the city. So this is something that needs to be done. Otherwise, the Plymouth City Patriots can fall into arrears, and we don't want them to fall into arrears, especially because it's very hard for the BBL to start new clubs. Manchester Giants have already, the owners already sold the club back to the league. So the league is basically taking over the club for now, and to the buyers. So we don't want that to happen with the Patriots. We need as many teams as possible. We don't want the league to be stretched with its finances. So I want to know what's happening with Plymouth. Are they moving it into a new venue? Because another thing is, how are the fans going to take it if all of a sudden they just move to a new venue out of nowhere? There's lots of people who may have an idea that plan their route around the pavilion. So are they going to tell people now? Because I would think now or August would be the best time to start telling people that there is a new venue on the horizon. And another thing is, if there isn't a new venue on the horizon, that could be bad for Plymouth, because they would very well possibly be putting themselves in debt. They literally can put themselves in arrears, and they could lose everything they've worked for. So do they stay at the pavilions or do they move on? Now, to me, there's no choice. They said they were looking at two. If I read it again, they were looking at two places they could go to. So a multi-purpose venue has long been the ambition of the city council for basketball in Plymouth. Even when the Plymouth Raiders own the franchise, that remains the dream of the Patriots. But it is a cost that simply is too much for here and now. Instead, Hessop has earmarked two buildings that can be converted to basketball. He says negotiations are at the most advanced stage when it comes to finding a new home for the sport in the city. And so basically, that needs to happen. I don't know what venues, no one's actually talked about it, what venues they're going to. There's not been discussion. I believe the Gladiators were moving into Easter House before they got a investor who is investing in them to get a bigger a better arena. But even the Gladiators back then were still trying to basically move into an arena, because it's important. Arena, helps the club to, retain its profits. Instead of paying out to, rent to venues and out to into the vendors that come there, they actually have the right to charge the vendors, rent, and they have the right to make money off the vendors. Instead, right now, they don't have no right to make any money off the vendors, and they have to pay rent themselves. So these things, it has to be thought about. These things go to the club, and that means better players, and that means more competition. The French. So let's see one of the other parts of the article. You can check the article out. It's PlymouthHerald.co.uk. So both, it says here. Let me see here. It says that Hillsop said the situation with the pavilions hasn't changed. We are thankful because we wouldn't have to be able to continue the club without them, but the reality is that we cannot afford the venue. We are effectively renting a house that we can't afford, so they cannot afford to stay there any longer, and the pavilions know that, and we know that, and so we are committed to one season so that we could help the club going. But we have two possible options that we're looking at the moment. Both have issues that need to be resolved. It is an issue that hasn't been resolved for a long period of time, which proves that it is not an easy thing to resolve, but it is doable. Both venues can be converted, and we are talking about existing venue that can be converted, not a all-purpose built venue, which is a long-term vision, but that takes a long period of time, and we need something for next season. We are further forward than we've ever been in the city negotiation and talk, but there is lots of kind of things that need to be resolved, which we will hopefully have some good news about over the next few months to let fans know. The demise of the Plymouth Raiders was very much down to the cost of the pavilions. They were forced to withdraw from the BBL when they could not strike a deal with the owners of the pavilions of rental costs. So, as you can see, this is what caused the Raiders to literally fall back into administration, and it was taken up by Carl Hessop. So it's one of those things. This is why it needs to be sorted out now. And it's, do they do something similar to what the Riders did, where the Riders basically, they took a warehouse and retrofitted it and made it into an arena, or do they actually start from the ground up like Bristol Flyers, like the Caledonia Gladiators, like Sheffield Sharks? Now these guys these venues are not cheap. They're in the millions. These venues it takes millions to build these venues. So if it was me, if I was in charge, let's say, I would just get a warehouse and retrofit it for the foreseeable future until we have, the money. Right now, having a place where the money that is being made is retained in the team and the organisation is important, and it retains in the league. It does mean development, but we have to start from somewhere. So that's what I have for today. Thank you for watching the video. If you guys got any information on the Plymouth City Patriots, you can leave that in the comment section. Because really, there's not been anyone. No one's actually talked about it at all. So I was just wondering what's happening with that. But yeah. Anyway, that's it. See you next week. Peace.